You good? You
Thank
good?
you.
Yeah. So how you doing today? Pretty good, or?
Pretty good, pretty good. Just about to do some training, but pretty good. What about you?
Pretty good. Pretty good. So it's a little rainy day here because I'm on the East Coast. I live in Massachusetts, so it's been kind of a crappy day. But what can you do though? But
Yeah.
yeah. So you're heading to King's MMA to train right now, or?
No, no. Later on today, but right now, just some conditioning training.
Okay, okay, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, Sabina. So, yeah, I just wanted to get this interview started. So, most of your other interviews I've seen, they kind of just go straight into the fight, like your last fight against Justine Kish. But I kind of want to like, give some time to kind of for you to like, kind of like look back on your career and kind of go all the way to the start. So, um, yeah, I kind of want to talk about how like you started into MMA and like what made you want to get into martial arts in the first place and yeah, go from there.
Yeah. Well, I always been very active person, doing different sports and trying like new things. And definitely like when I was 15, I tried boxing, and from that moment I decided to keep on training. I never had the expectation to fight, but I love to train. So from there I got I got passionate about it, and from there was jiu-jitsu, then Muay Thai, and then eventually I MMA. I got the fight, and that first fight also kind of guided me, like opened my eyes for what really I wanted to do. And yeah, here I am.
Yeah, so like at 15, you said you started in boxing, so that was in Colombia, correct?
Yeah, in Colombia.
Yeah, so like, that's actually a question I had. So especially with like the state of MMA or just combat sports in general, um, how is the scene in Colombia compared to other countries? Because I know in countries like Brazil it has like a really rich history of MMA, jiu-jitsu, and all that. So in terms of Colombia, would you say it's kind of on the same par, or is it still a little bit more work to do in terms of the evolution of MMA or evolution of just combat sports in general?
Yeah, I think it has evolved until now. Like in some aspects of boxing has been already it's hard. It's been a long time in Colombia, but in like MMA and Muay Thai, there's still like some time to grow. There is fighters now. There is more and more, but definitely um, it's just like on the beginning of it, compared to other countries. So but I think we're in a good path. I think we're doing well, for what we have, but we still have to work in that, especially in MMA.
Mhm. Like are gyms kind of more of like in terms of like MMA and all those type of gyms, are they kind of more like underground in Colombia? Or is it kind of one of those that like you said, it's like it's you guys are on the right path, so more and more gyms are starting to open up a little bit more in the country.
Yeah, I feel like there's more Muay Thai by itself, Jiu-Jitsu by itself, not MMA gyms. It's hard to find like an MMA gym.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, they are, and they're growing. And every time you see more and more gyms, but the MMA part, it's a little bit hard to find.
Hmm. And so yeah, so like when you started and like you said you ended up having your first MMA fight, that was actually in Barranquillas, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And Barrick, yeah. So I actually want to know how the whole setup of the event was like because I know like especially in the United States the regional scenes like you know they are smaller shows but they are pretty like set up real nicely. It's a bunch of people in the audience, obviously pre-COVID because now it's different times. But yeah, so like in terms of the Barranquilla event, your first fight, and I know your second fight was in Costa Rica. So how was that like? Was it kind of one of those like you were just like in a really small venue and pretty much I know the way they have it in the UFC Apex now, there's just like barely to no people there, only the people like organizing the staff, or was it a little bit more of a crowd or more of an audience in the events?
Yeah, more of a crowd. It was in I remember it was like in a bar,
Mm.
and there was a lot of people, to be honest with you. And I don't know if it's underground, but it was one of the first shows, but it was kind of good. To be honest, they had the cage. It was a little bit small, the place, but besides that, it was good.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And then you ended up signing with LFA. So at that point, was it you took the decision to move to the United States like by yourself, or did you end up moving with family? And then after that, like was King's MMA the first gym that you ended up associating yourself with you?
Yeah, so MMA, well, Kings of MMA was, I already knew it was the gym I wanted to come, but
Mm,
I did move by myself here. Like my family all stay in Colombia, but I had a goal, a dream, and I just came with a plan.
mm. And then when you got to King's MMA, was Rafael Caderas the first person you saw at the door, or was it other people that they introduced you to the team, and from there on, you kind of felt like at the start it was kind of one of those situations that you just felt at home, felt real comfortable with everyone, or was it one of those that like you're the kind of person that like it takes a little bit to get comfortable with everyone, and then you go from there?
Yeah, no, well, since the first time, I was very comfortable. I felt pretty good in my, it feels like home. It felt like home. So it felt really good to get to this place. Everyone was very welcoming. But yeah, I first went, master, and from there, I started meeting all my training partners, who's now like my boyfriend, and you know, everyone. It was really nice, good experience.
That's awesome. And then you had a couple viral knockouts when during your time in LFA. So I'm guessing your social media was probably blowing up after those leg kick knockouts. I mean, head kick knockouts. And so how was that like? Especially like I said, especially in the sport of MMA, that like smaller shows, you get your wins here and there, but then like you don't get the notoriety of like people like telling you did a good job or telling you that like your knockout was crazy. So once you got to LFA and you got those like viral kick head kicks, like how was it? Was your social media blowing up, or didn't it start blowing up until you got to the UFC that people started taking notice?
No, the knockouts for sure. It was something that it went viral, and that was one of the reasons too why I got to the UFC. So it was getting I was getting more people to like my work since that time. But of course, UFC it has a lot more exposure to it. So both ways. I got that exposure.
And how was that like? So like you said the UFC was taking notice. So did they give you a call like right after like the first head kick knockout, or was it like I think it was the second time that you were defending your LFA title that the UFC was just like, if you win this fight you're going to get a contract for the UFC, or was it kind of one of those that like they hit you with like a short notice fight out of nowhere?
No, we kind of were making the work after getting the belt from LFA, but I had in mind that I wanted to defend my belt. So I defended my belt, and a matter of months, after like a month or something or less, we got the call from the UFC. But my manager did the work and all that stuff. So yeah, basically, we built the way to the UFC.
Mm, And then you get to the UFC, and then how was that like? Especially like you said, it's a lifelong dream. So you get there, and I know like your the first bout didn't go your way, but in terms of experience, so how was that? Just in terms of did is it what you envisioned besides like the result? Is it what you envisioned like in terms of like let's say warming up in the locker room or walking out to the crowd, seeing everyone just either screaming your name or screaming for you in your fight? Was it what you experienced in your head, or did you think differently?
Well, I kind of thought differently. There was a lot of things going on like in my life. In that time when I first had my fight, but I you get used to it. It was not a lot of crowd because it was one of the first fights, so I didn't have that feeling of wow, what is this? But definitely it was a different show. The
Mm,
treatment was different, everything was different.
mm.
So yeah, but you make adjustments, and I feel like I did learn a lot from that
Mm.
fight.
And then after that, you like right after that first fight, like you said, you learned a lot. You just you ended up you're on a 3-5 winning streak right after their first bout that you ended up losing. So um especially the JJ Aldrich fight, that was a really back and forth fight. So in the fight, is it one of those situations that like that goes through your mind that it's like, oh, I'm getting hit with a lot of shots here, or is it one of those like situations that is kind of like have to just push through, try to get the win? Because I know was it In that JJ Alger fight, I remember I think it was after the second round. I think in the third round you just came out guns blazing, just trying to get the decision. So um I guess the question I'm trying to ask here is, whenever you are in those situations in the middle of a fight that is just a firefight, what's the place you have to go to end up, getting the result at the end of the day? Is Do you have to go to a different place in your mindset, or is that why your coaches are there to kind of remind you of like why you do this?
Well, I don't like to uh, give the chance or give the results to the judges because it's a very tight fight. It happened that way,
Mhm,
but I'm not proud of that. I want to dominate in a fight. I don't want to make a one chance or give a chance of, oh no, maybe yeah she won but maybe the other girl too. So I think no one likes that. And but yeah, corners help, and in your mind too. You're losing and you don't want that, so you gotta be doing something different than you're doing in that moment.
mhm. Definitely, and then like you said, it's like you learned your lesson. Like you said, you learn after every fight. So in your last fight, the Justin Kish fight, you ended up getting on like that finish in the third round with that beautiful head kick, and then instead you ended up getting her with the rear naked choke. And I know a lot of people, a lot of reporters are asking you like, oh, like why'd you go for the rear naked choke and this and this and this and that? But I think you had like a really good comment saying that I feel like at that point it's like your body just kind of takes over in terms of like all the training, and it's like you're not really thinking about everything as everything's going there. So how did it feel when you ended up getting that rear naked choke, and then like you said you ended up getting that finish that you wanted to get in that second fight, but it actually ended up coming through in the last one? So how did that feel?
Well, to be honest with you, I thought about going to the rear naked choke or submission because she was a tough girl. She is a tough girl. She got some kicks and she kept going moving forward. She failed that one, but I didn't have too much time. So in my mind, I just wanted to make it clear that it was that I won. So I saw it that way. She was dizzy, but I knew she could stand up and keep going.
Mhm,
So yeah, in my mind, I think it was a little bit more. You can. There's no doubt. She will tap and that's it. Because I didn't have too much time. If I keep going and punching her, maybe she recover.
mhm.
So yeah.
Definitely. And then in the post-fight press conference, um, reporters are asking about you, like when's like the next time they want to see you want to be in the octagon. And then you also like brought up like a really interesting comment saying that you want to take fights at 135. Um, is the reason for you to take fights at 135, like you said, to get more fights, more experience under your belt in terms of UFC experience, in terms of for you trying to get that belt at 125? Or you kind of just want to do the like Amanda Nunes approach and just kind of fight at 135, 125, whatever comes first, and whatever you end up moving up in the ranks, you'll stay there and get more fights in.
No, I have in my mind. It's kind of clear that I want to the belt in 125,
Mm,
but I want more experience. And I feel the divisions move a lot, so why not get some experience at 135 and solve that? And yeah, of course, going up in the rankings in 125.
mm. And in terms of like the new, like especially like in the new times that we're in, the pandemic and all that, actually have it's like a question I have for a lot of UFC fighters, and I really want to know because based like everyone has different experiences. So in terms of you know preparing for a fight amidst the pandemic, and in terms of getting a fight, how differently is it pre-pandemic at times that like in terms of, is it easier to get a fight? Is it harder to get a fight? Or and then like the second question is it easier to train or harder to train? I'm guessing for that one it'll be obviously harder to train, especially that you reside in California with the whole strict COVID pandemic guidelines. So yeah, so like how is it, especially in, like in the pandemics, is it easier to get a fight, harder to get a fight? And like you said, it's like, is that like that's probably another reason why you're trying to get to 135, because there's just more, the division moves along a little bit faster.
Yeah, no, well, every fighter is different. In my case, I kept training through all these times. The gym was not closed for us professional fighters.
Mhm,
So I always, I like to stay ready, be prepared, and don't stop training. Don't just train because you have a fight. Just train because it's a lifestyle. So Definitely was not that hard to train in these times. Get a fight in these times, maybe it's gonna be easier because a lot of fights, they pull out because of COVID or whatever. So we have opportunity to, fight. And yeah, so for fighters, we had the chance that our work never stopped.
Mm. Yeah, definitely. And then, do you have anyone in mind? I know you said like you kind of just want to get experience, like whatever fight comes your way. But do you have anybody in mind that you kind of want to call out for your next fight, or is it kind of one of those that like, whatever the UFC puts in front of you, your game?
I'm ready for anyone, but I do have a fight coming up. I cannot say yet who or when,
Mm.
but I do have a fight coming up, so I'm preparing for that, and I know soon there will be news about it.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Alrighty. So yeah. So yeah. For the questions I have left, it's just kind of more of like get to know you questions type of thing. So I know you're from Medellin, and then I guess because I'm friends with a lot of Colombian people, and then I guess like the biggest question that a lot of people have going around here is if you're from Medellin, are you either a Medellin fan or you're a Nacional fan? So I don't know if you follow soccer, the Colombian soccer league like that, but if you do, what's your preference?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I don't follow too much soccer to be honest,
Mm,
but I did grow up there, so there's always that rival thing between those teams. So I have to go with my dad, so I'm in a Gene team.
okay. Okay.
But I'm not a really big fan about it. I think it's great that people create this kind of stuff, but I just support whoever's playing that day.
Okay, gotcha. But like you said though, you had the smart answer. Try to go with your dad's team, Medellin, because you don't want that like argument back and forth when next time you see him. Uh, yeah. So and then so that the other question is, also from Medellin. So every I've noticed this every time Bruce Buffer announces where you're from, he says Medellin wrong. So I don't know if you've ever noticed that, but if you did, like, does it irk you? It's like, yo, like Bruce, like when are you gonna get Medellin right? Like it's not Medellin, it's Medellin.
Well, I never noticed about that because I'm used to it. Languages are different.
Mm-hmm.
My first language is not English,
Mm-hmm.
and I do speak Portuguese as well, but it's not my first language. And you will never get right all the words. You try, you learn everything, but you're gonna speak. You're always gonna have this accent. You
Mm-hmm.
know. So I don't mind. To be honest, I don't mind because it's not. He doesn't need to know that. So. Yeah.
Hey, you're a lot better though, because I know a couple other people they would have been driving them crazy, just saying like, "Oh, get Medellin right," like it's not the way you're saying it. But that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, Sabina. So like I said, I mean, I really appreciate the time. I know it's a short interview, but like I don't want to take more of your time, especially you getting ready for a fight, like you said, and preparing. So like I said, thank you for your time. I really appreciate it, especially for someone that wants to do this as a career. For fighters like you, just to give me some bit of time means the world to me. So thank you so much. And then yeah, good luck in your next fight and have a good day.
Thank you very much, and thanks for the interview. Have a
Thank you.
great day too. Bye.
Bye bye.